y'all. This is Sam, the Frugal Hugel gardener, and I was out here first thing in the morning and I started to trim up my tomato plants because they're growing rapidly and I want to create airflow. They're not quite high enough to attach to the trellises, but I need that airflow going. And I'm doing some trimming, so I'm going to show you how I trim. And there's some blossoms happening and I don't want to cut those off. So let's get with it. Okay, so what I've been doing is I'm cutting off some branches of the vine and I'm looking over the plant first. Right here is just a nice leaf. I want to cut it off. And right here is just another nice piece of the vine. This is a branch, a leaf, no blossoms on it. But you'll notice this one here has blossoms going all the way up. So I'm going to leave that, but I'm going to cut the bottom one off and the bottom one off there. It doesn't need those. And now going up, that one there isn't going to grow up onto the trellis, but there's that's a lot of tomatoes going to be in there. So this one over here is going towards the middle, has nothing to do with growing, and I want airflow. And right down here on the bottom, there's a little sucker coming up. I'm going to take that off because I want the whole plant to be good. Now, it's not tall enough to attach, but I'm going to put a piece of PVC pipe in the ground like I did some others to hold it up. But for right now, I'm going around to trim, see how they hang. Going to put PVC up and go ahead and tape them up. But I want to show you how I'm going around and trim. A lot of people, they're scared to trim and they don't trim properly. Okay, same thing right over here. I'm trying to get down low, get in the video, and I want a decent close-up over here for you guys, like that. So once again, I'm going to cut this off. There's nothing on it. I'm going to cut this one off. Couple little weeds coming in on the bottom. I'm going to pull those out. Want all the energy going to the plant. Now right over here, there's nothing on that, so I'm trimming it. Nothing on that. And here's a sucker right here. I'm taking that off. Another branch right there. Now, you see that nice tomato blossom right there? Here, I'll give it a little tap like that. Shake it. That's self-pollinated now. And right over here is a sucker, and right over here is a sucker. I'm going to let both of these grow for now because I want to see which one branches out. Because all of my tomato plants like that one, you notice it V's out? Okay, I want all my tomato plants to come up and then V out into two, and that's it, like a wishbone. Okay, let me come over here and trim this one. This one's laying on the ground, but I have a piece of PVC pipe there. Now down on the bottom over here, there's one sucker, two suckers. I just squeezed them off. Now coming up over here, I got some things happening. I'm taking that off, taking that one off, taking that off, taking that off, and that off. Okay. Now this one over here has blossoms, and this is a sucker, and that's a sucker, but I'll let it grow because I want to see what's going to go up high. And I got some tape in my pocket, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to tape it right here. Take that sucker off. Now this is held up. Now when this starts growing, I'll be able to take these and come up this way. So that's good for now. Okay, right here's what I'm talking about. I want my main vine coming up, and I want them to branch out into two. It's one plant, but it'll branch out into two. I want all my tomato plants to do that. You'll get twice as many tomatoes. Here's a nice one to trim for you. So let me go ahead and start trimming. Here's a branch. Nothing on that one. Nothing on that one. So it serves no purpose right now. Nothing on this one. But look at all that airflow I just created. Now, if you look here, you see the, I'm going to shake this, self-pollinate. See all these blossoms? I'm not going to trim that. But here's a big sucker coming up. I don't need this one. So I'm going to take this big sucker off right there. You see that? And the reason why I did that, this is my wishbone. It's going to grow that way, and it's going to grow that way. And right up over here, take that sucker off. There's some blossoms starting on this one, and blossoms on that one. So this one's good. I just need to go ahead and tie this one up. It looks to me like it's actually big enough to attach right there. Okay, so this one here is ready to attach. I don't need the PVC pipe, I don't think, on this one, so I'm going to go ahead and attach it like this. So I'm going to attach this one right over here, like this. Okay, that's attached. That one looks good. So here's blossoms, there's blossoms, and here's blossoms, and none of them are touching the trellis, which is good. Now let's get this next one. Okay, so right over here is a tomato plant, and I'm going to look to see here right here is a blossom, so I got to be careful. So I clip this. Clip that. Okay, there, that looks good. Clip these. There's a blossom there. Ooh, look at that. That whole stem there's got blossoms, so I don't want to touch it. You could very easily go ahead and cut the wrong one. Let me just cut some of these off. I don't need them. Cut that one. Okay, if you look here, here's some blossoms. And this whole stem right here, if you can see it, has blossoms. I'll give it a little shake to self-pollinate. Self-pollinate. And let me cut this one off. So I'll leave this one. That's a sucker that came out, and it's full. This is full, and right over here, that's full, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'll just put a piece of PVC pipe here. It's not tall enough, but blossoms, 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 and blossoms, so I don't want to cut any of that. I could actually cut this one right here. Okay, I cut that, and I left this sucker right there to grow up. Okay, so I just changed the camera setting to wider view because I was like trying to cram in. So let's do it again over here. I'm taking this whole branch off. It looks good. This one looks good. This one, nothing on it. Down here, it V'd out this way, so all this is good. I just want airflow, so I'm cutting that off. Okay, there's no blossoms on that. There's blossoms on this, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. And now let's look at this side. Okay, sucker down there. Let's cut this one off. Let's cut that one off. And let's cut this one off. Sucker too. Now, right over here, see all those blossoms? I'm going to leave those. Self-pollinate them. They might even be pollinated already. This one has nothing on it, so I'm going to clip it. And this one has nothing on it. I'm going to clip it. So we got blossoms, blossoms here, blossoms there, and blossoms right up there. So this is good. I got a piece of PVC pipe here. It's not quite good enough, so what I want to do is I want to attach this to here to grow up like this and attach to that, and then I'm going to twist this one here when it's big enough. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and attach this one right here like this. Okay, this one was coming out this way, so I'd rather this go up, and I'll attach it right there. Clip this off. And this one, when it grows taller, I'm going to attach it right there, and it'll V out nicely. Let's go to the next. Okay, so this plant right here, I've got it already attached to a PVC pipe, but it's growing, so I need to go ahead and trim all this off. By trimming this off, it's going to have more energy for blossoms to grow tomatoes, and it's going to create more airflow. From this trellis down, I don't want any leaves. I'll leave tomatoes, but no leaves. I want airflow. I got plenty of time. This is going to go all the way up 8 feet high. Going to have shade cloth. Going to have a ton of tomatoes. I'll never be able to eat them all. I give a lot away, so I'm trying to do it right with airflow. Right down here is a blossom on that one. I'm going to cut that. There's a couple blossoms. I almost cut that off. So, got to be careful. Always look for those blossoms before you snip. Good one off over here. I'm sure before the day's out, I'll make a mistake and cut some blossoms. But for right now, there's blossoms on this one. There's blossoms starting on that. Okay, this sucker here has got no blossoms, so I'm going to cut it. And this one's coming up with blossoms. So blossoms, blossoms. This sucker here got no blossoms. I'm going to cut it. Got blossoms and blossoms. So all this here is looking good. So I want that on that side. That's all looking good. Now, what am I going to do with this? Okay. This one could come up and back in, but here, this one here, I'm going to go ahead and secure it right here. This one's almost good enough to attach, but I'm going to put this on temporary right here. And I leave these on here because I could always cut that and have something on hand as an emergency. Okay, let's go down here. Okay, so right over here, this one's bending over, but I want to trim it. So first thing I'm doing is I'm looking for blossoms. If I don't see any, it's coming off. Okay, here's a sucker. I want that off. No blossoms. Okay, long one. No blossoms. Okay, that looks good right there. Take that off. And if I see a weed coming up, I pull it. So this one's pretty good. Almost ready to attach. And right over here, it's starting to V out, so that's good. Anywhere's in here, the V could start low or it could start up high. Doesn't matter. Okay, so right over here, I'm going to go ahead and start trimming this one up right here. So, no blossoms on that I can see. No blossoms on this one. No blossoms on that. This here is loaded. Look at all those blossoms. And here, I'm going to cut that. Nothing on this one. Look how open and spacey. This is all airflow now I'm making. Okay, let me cut this one. Let me cut that one. Now let's see what we got here. I'm going to cut that one. And I would cut this sucker, but it looks like there's some blossoms right there. So I'll just trim this one right here. Okay, I would normally cut that, but there's blossoms right there, and that's tomatoes, so I'm gonna leave them. This got blossoms, so there's tomatoes on that. I'll just cut this bottom leaf right there. I want airflow. Down below here, see this sucker? I'm gonna pull that off. Okay, so this one here is almost ready to tie up, but it's not. So I'll go ahead and put a piece of PVC here in a little bit. Okay, look at all this that I trimmed off over here. Okay, I'm gonna catch all these in a second, but first, I gotta take my boot off. I got a bunch of mulch in there. Look at all that mulch coming out. That didn't feel too good. That's what happens when you sit right on the mulch here. Okay, you see this tall one right here? Let's start trimming. All this is coming off. That one's off. I got some nice tomatoes. You see these tomatoes right here? They're coming in. Looks good. I'll leave those. Take that off. I'm gonna take this one off. And right here I got a sucker. That sucker's gonna grow into another branch. I'm gonna leave that. That's gonna be another vine there. I'll take all these off. I don't want them. Now I got blossoms here, I got blossoms here. Take that sucker off, take that sucker off. Take this branch off. Okay, so I'm gonna let this one go up like that. This one's got blossoms. And take that off. Okay, I'm gonna leave that, and that. This one could come off right here. All right, so this is gonna go up that way, and there's blossoms, and that's gonna continue to grow. Now this one is tall enough right here for me to attach. I'll leave this on for a little bit more, but basically this could be attached right here now. Okay, so generally when they're attached, I could take these bottom ones off, and I could take this out, and I could use this for another plant now, because that's attached right there. So that's good. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one. Here's a broken branch, probably the wind. I got tomatoes down on the bottom. Here's a branch. I'm gonna cut all these off. Got some suckers on it. Let me examine it. Okay, I got some tomatoes there. I'll leave it. Take that off. That sucker off there. Right over here, this could come off. Okay, take that sucker off. That could come off. Here's a sucker down here. I don't want it, but I'm leaving those tomatoes. Here's some blossoms. Okay, here's one I don't want. Let me see. Okay, this whole sucker here could come off. So I'm gonna reach in there and grab that. I don't want that. And this whole branch right here could come off. Okay. Okay, so right over here, I already got one up here. The vine looks good. Let's see what we got going on. This sucker is gonna be the one that shoots up that way. This is just a branch, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave it because the blossoms right here, blossoms there. And So I'm just going to go ahead and leave that on this like that. And let's give it a little tape right here just to hold it in place from the wind. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this one. Make sure there's no blossoms. Cut all the growth off. Okay, this one's got blossoms, so I'm gonna leave it. None on that one. Remember, I'm trimming to create airflow. And to give the plant more energy. Okay, so I'm gonna tie this one up right here. Just like this. Okay, this one's self-supporting now. I got blossoms here. Nothing on that one, so I'll cut it right there. And nothing on that one. Alright, so I created airflow and there's blossoms even on this one, so I'm going to leave it. Let's trim this one up. Tomatoes down there. Right there, a whole branch of tomatoes. So let me tie this one up right here. Just like that. Okay, those are looking good. Bunch of tomatoes there and the rest look good. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what we got here. Let's cut most of this off here. Over here. Got blossoms on that, so I'll leave that one. Nothing on this one. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, branch here is going to come off. Okay, got tomatoes. Look at all those down there. These look like yellow pear. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna tie this one up. Okay, I'm gonna tie this one up right here. And I'm gonna try to get this to come this way. Like this, just like that, and I'm going to tie it up again right here. Okay, I tied it there and there. Got all these tomatoes here. And let's see what we got here. This could come off. Okay. This could come off. That could come off. This got blossoms on it. This got blossoms, so I'm gonna leave it, let that just blossom out. And let's cut this one. That one. Okay, that all looks good, but I'm gonna tie this one up just like this right here. Okay, and this one here is actually ready. Let me get this branch right here. Looks like I could tie it. Okay, great. That looks good. And cut that branch off right there. Okay, this one's, that looks like perfect. Okay, let's see what we got here. Cut this off. Cut that off. Over here. Look at all that. Just cut it all off. Don't need it. The plant don't need it. Now I'm going to examine these. Cut that off. Okay, let's tie it up. Okay, so I want this tied right here, pulled up as much as I can. And it looks like I could go ahead and tie it right here as well. Okay, take that off. That could come off right there. Okay, so what do we got here? Got blossoms. I don't need that, and I don't need that. Don't need those leaves right there. Okay, I think that's gonna blossom. We don't need that sucker. Blossoms on that. And we don't need this here, but there's a sucker. We'll let this sucker grow that way. So that all looks good. I'll leave it. Okay, everything's coming along good. Let's tackle that row. Okay, right up in here, I got this little one. Let me get it real quick. That's holding up by itself. I'll just leave it. That's gonna be a blossom. I'll leave it. None there. I'll cut that. Okay, down on the bottom I got a sucker. We don't want anything that low. We'll cut it off. And let's get this. Cut this. Cut that. Blossoms on that, so I'll cut this. Okay, this one's doing good. There's a lot of blossoms all over this one, so I'm going to leave it. But here's my V. That will be up there pretty soon. Okay, so right up in here, let's try to get this one. After a while, you could just look at the plant and know which ones are going to give off blossoms and which ones aren't. There's blossoms all over this one. And we'll come over here and get all this off. Creating airflow. Lots and lots of blossoms on this. Okay, I created a lot of airflow. Get that sucker. This one's almost ready to attach. This one I'm going to attach right here a little better. Okay, so I'm going to attach this right here. The wind was blowing the other day real strong, so I just used anything I had handy to tie it up. I don't really need all this on there right now. Okay, so this one, I'm going to tie this up right to there. It's not quite right. I could leave that there, and this one here I could leave. Not quite ready to tie up yet, but there's blossoms all over it. Okay, let's clean this one up. Okay, got some suckers down at the bottom. Want to cut those off. Taking it energy way down too low. Don't want new plants to start. Cut all that off. Created airflow. Cut this off. Okay, that's it. Look at all those blossoms on that one. This is ready to keep growing. See, I got my drip irrigation on. I'm fertilizing with AgroThrive right now. Okay, so let's trim this one up and see where we're at. Okay, let me tie this one up different. Okay, I wanted to get this one, tie it on right over here like this. Okay, got blossoms, got blossoms. All this has got blossoms, so I'm just gonna leave that. Yep, blossoms, blossoms. Okay, I'm gonna leave all those with blossoms. All right, let's get this one. Okay, so what do we got here? Let's cut this off. That off, don't need it. The plant don't need it, cut that off. Get all of it out of my way. Cut this off. Now let me see. Okay, no blossoms there, none there, none there. Okay, good. Over here, none, none. Okay, so here's my V right here. This is going to grow that way, that's going to grow that way, and blossoms all over it. So let me secure this right over here like this. Okay, let's go down there. Okay, as soon as I'm done over here, we'll take a walk around and we can see what everything looks like. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Cut off the bottom growth. That definitely does not have any blossoms on it. This one. Okay, let me look this over. Okay, that could come off. That could come off. That could come off. Okay, this could come off right there. This could come off. Alright, that all looks good. This one could come off. That's a sucker. No blossoms. No blossoms. Now, okay, no blossoms. So this one here got blossoms starting there, but you can see here's a V right here. Here and here. So that's going to be it coming up. And right now it's too low to tie up. Okay, so right down here on the bottom, I got some suckers coming in, and I just got those off. And let's go ahead and get some of these away. Get this one off over here. Over here. This whole big branch could come off. This could come off. That's got blossoms. I'm going to leave that. Okay, this one here could come off. That's a sucker. This got blossoms. Those got tomatoes coming in on the blossoms, so I'll leave that there. Okay, here's my shade cloth. I got to move it. Okay, this is coming up, looking good. Cut that off. Okay, it's got blossoms on it. Get this leaf off over here. Okay, and this one here is going to come off. Alright, I'm going to have to move that shade cloth too. But all this is looking good. Okay, let's see what we got over here. Okay, that's all looking good. Here's a sucker on the bottom. Let me get that off. Alright, this is looking good right here. This one, I could pull this out, bring this down and around over here. I'll put it back. I'm going to go ahead and secure this up right here like this. And I'll move this shade cloth out of here in a minute. I got that shade cloth there because there's all my lettuce over there, the plants. They like shade. Okay, let's see what we got over here. Cut all this out of the way. All this big growth, don't need it. It's taking energy. There's nothing there. There's some tomatoes on that. On that. Cut this off. Okay. The rest of this, I cut that off and that off. Okay. That's all looking good. Almost ready to tie up over here, but we can leave that there right now. Let's go down. Okay, let's look at this one. Let's cut this off. Cut that off. Cut that off. All this, don't need it. Okay, right down the bottom's a sucker. Let's get that off. All right, so what do we got here? This could come off, that could come off. This could come off right here. Okay, blossoms. Get that off, get that off. Okay, that's looking good. Now let's do this last one over here on this row. Okay, what do we got here? Let's take this off. This off. Okay, this one's ready to tie up. So let's go ahead and do it. Slip this through there like that, and I'll tie this one up right here. Okay, notice how I put that through there and this on this side, because we want to start weaving it. And that the weave is going to help it hold on to all this as it grows. If you just put ribbons going up like that, the ribbons will break of the weight of the tomatoes. So you got to weave it as you tie them up, as they start growing. Because the weave okay, my alarm, that was my second batch of AgroThrive. I got to go turn that off. Let me just finish up on this one. Okay, now I could use that on another plant. This is secure, it looks good. Okay, hey, so I went ahead and finished tying everything up and trimming everything. So let's take a little garden tour and see what we got. Okay, down on this back row, I went ahead and trimmed up those tomato plants. This is some of my row crops I got coming in, carrots, purple tops, sugar snap pods and stuff like that. Those are the tomato plants that I just trimmed up. See all that airflow? Okay, these are my greens I've been eating, from Swiss chard to lettuce. And over here I got some vine plants I got to trim up. Okay, so right over here I went ahead and lifted up the shade cloth, because the shade cloth is only supposed to provide shade to them. And I went ahead and trimmed them up. In about a few more weeks, when it gets hot, the whole top is going to have shade cloth, but for now I don't. These are my pepper plants. Right over here is Kajari melon. They're going to grow up and over my trellis. They're not ready to train yet. So these are what my tomato plants look like that I just trimmed up. They're starting to touch the trellis. You don't need all those leaves on the bottom, but you leave the blossoms and you leave the tomatoes on there as you're trimming them. And be careful, because when it's thick, you could accidentally cut them and you don't want to. So anyway, I got more plants growing on both sides over here. I still got to fill in some areas. You know, that's kind of like what happens. I got 2 empty spots there, but I have tomatoes in the house to bring out. I just trimmed that up, and looks to me like I'm gonna have to do a little spraying. I see a couple holes in my leaves. Those are my collards. Got different types of collards. And over here, this is what I just trimmed up the other day, and I trained them to go up the trellis over here. Same on that side. I did a whole video on that. And over here, got a lot of blossoms, and I went ahead and tied them up and trimmed them up. You know, all this whole walkway, I got to come in here with a rake and and a bucket and get all that up. But right over here, those are all trimmed up. I need to get some PVC pipe to hold them up. They're blowing. These are nice and trimmed up, a lot of airflow. Got peppers growing in here. These here are going to grow up and over the trellis. I just trimmed them up. Let's come over here and take a look. These are nice and trimmed up now. I got PVC pipe holding it until they reach the trellis. Same thing on this side. I got to get a little bit more PVC. Now over here, these are my eggplants. I got a couple more to put in here. These are my Blue Lake stringless string beans. You can see they're growing up. And over here, you can see they're making their way up pretty high right now. They're going to be giving some off. And these are eggplants, and those are eggplants. And right up over here, these are my muscadine vines going over the whole entryway, all the way down to the end of the Hugel culture, to the fence line, and then around the back side of the garden, and all the way up to the front side. And then I have a whole row over there. So let's go ahead and go over there and see what we got. Now I got a nice wide walkway here with 6 arched trellises, so I could bring in my cart and haul things out so I don't have to carry everything. Okay, now we're on the back side of the garden, and the same thing. I got the grapevines going up to the arch and down that way. And right over here, I got different types of squashes coming in. They're all looking really good. You can notice I'm using a double drip irrigation, so it drips to each side of the plant and not on the plant. Okay, now coming around the back side over here, these are mostly watermelon. I got a couple squashes coming in too. These are my Muscadine grapevines. I got a double row vineyard over here. And right over here on my squash, I love these right here. They're looking really good. These are butter stick. These are my favorite out of any kind of squash right here. They're nice and smooth like butter. When you skin them, the texture of the meat is like butter, the skin is like butter. It's just wonderful plant. And then right up through the center over here, I got a lot of pepper plants coming in and some other type of plants. Got a couple empty spots where I need to plant some stuff, but they're kind of all looking good. I got some peppers already coming in. Got a few hot ones, like this one here is a lipstick, and this is a sugar rush. This is another sugar rush. That's a habananda, shishito. So I got different ones, and along the back side, right up over there, is I got my grapevines. And if you look real closely, you lift up leaves, you'll see that these are all blossoms coming in here right now, and those are the grapes right there. Okay, so things in the garden are looking up. Got a lot of blossoms, a lot of growth happening. This is the time where you gotta water daily. Each plant gets a gallon a day. Each watermelon vine gets 4.5 gallons a day. I'm giving them AgroThrive fertilizer twice a week, and then they got some granules. If you want to see what I use, you know, there's a link below. It'll take you to my supplies. You can see what I use. Come on my Facebook page, come on my Facebook group. The links are down below, and you can get to meet people, chat with people, win prizes and stuff like that. So besides all my garden over here growing and the grapevines growing, I got fruit trees in the yard. I have over 100 banana plants. Right now I probably got about a dozen of them that they're shooting up a bud right now to give off blossoms. Some of them's got bananas on them, so I'm going to have a lot of bananas ripening this spring, and I'll go ahead and freeze them, and I love them in my shakes and stuff like that. So anyway, this is my garden. I do my best to grow everything like a pro. I get pro results. If you look at last year's garden tours, you'll see. Hopefully this year, fingers crossed, you'll see good pro growth happening with all of my vegetables. If you want to see how I do it, if you got any questions, I'll be glad to help you out. That's what this is all about. I'm not a professional YouTuber, but I am a professional gardener, and I love helping people, so hit me up with some questions. Meanwhile, hey, I'm Sam, the Frugal Hugel Gardener, and give me a like, show me some love, subscribe to my channel, come on to my Facebook page, say hi, and definitely sign up to my Facebook group. It's called Sunshine Harvest Edibles. A lot of good people on there. You'll pick up a lot of stuff, post your garden photos and everything like that. Till next time.